So how did I get into this is a question that a lot of people ask me. My name's Oscar Sierra with Sierra Botanica and Collaborative Medicine. I don't know if there's a short answer for that. When I was young, I used to be young, hopefully I still am, martial arts. A buddy of mine from middle school said, hey, I'm taking some karate lessons, you want to join me? I didn't know that he would get a discount if I joined him also, so I was like, yeah, sure, nothing else to do. We can carpool because you're like my neighbor. And ended up kind of digging it. And years later, I earned my black belt and ended up teaching both kids and adults martial arts. What I loved about martial arts and why and I'm going to explain how this has to do with herbal medicine, nutrition, acupuncture, and all the stuff that I do now. The cool thing that as a kid and really as an adult, still we see that really makes us excited is magic. So as a kid, I would see very large people, big muscular guys, get taken down to the ground or elsewhere without necessarily the blunt trauma, the elbows, the knees, the enchilada elbows, as I say. It would be simply finding the right pressure point at the right angle and direction, and having a little bit of a stimulus have a big effect. And as a kid, I would say just it was amazing, and you would be escorting humanely someone to the ground or out the door, and they would not have a black eye or a bloody nose or anything, and then you would let go and they'd be fine. And I thought that was kind of cool and magical, and I found out then there was actually a science to it. There was these pressure points, and they ran along meridians, and the meridians had a energetic flow to them, a direction, and a yin and a yang. And doing the martial arts movements, there was qi. You had to feel and understand it to do the movements properly. You had to have flow. You had to have an understanding of yin and yang and balance and centeredness and groundedness. And these are all the things that are important in Chinese medicine and in health. So it was a natural progression to study Chinese medicine, which I did, and learned acupuncture, which was the same pressure points we used to take someone down to the ground, was the same points we needle to help someone's health. Just applied a little bit differently, a different angle, a different direction. So it was a natural progression, and with the background that I had from the University of Georgia in nutrition, I thought it was just kind of a natural progression of learning martial arts and Chinese medicine to actually kind of go into practice and incorporate what I'd learned from a Western standpoint about the citric acid cycle and the Krebs cycle and micronutrients and macronutrients, and incorporate them into actual life, because we don't eat nutrients, we eat food, and food has a yin and a yang, and it brings you into balance. It's a hot and a cold, a yang or a yin. And so these are all the same concepts that we use in martial arts to bring and achieve balance. That's how I kind of got into this, how I got into the work with hanging out with the plants and the Donnie Yances and the David Winstons of the world is a little bit more of one where I saw patients would do the bare minimum to get better with the acupuncture or a couple herbs, to not have back pain, not have migraines, not have menstrual issues. And I would recommend the yoga, the diet, the lifestyle, the clean eating and clean living. And they would do it long enough just to be okay, and then they'd come see me again a couple weeks later, a couple months later for a tune-up or whatever. And then fast forward several years to maybe 2011, where a cancer patient that had seen already at least 4 different opinions from the best of the land, your MD Andersons, your Mayo Clinics, and not really liked any of the options that were offered to him. Not having a whole lot of experience with cancer patients, a friend of mine, Lorna Monty Broduck, I can credit, gave me Donnie Yance's book and said, hey, here, check this out. And I didn't read the book. I just skipped to the prostate cancer section, put together some stuff, and then within a month, his PSA went from 12 point something to 7 point something, at which point his oncologist said, that's impossible, there's no way that can happen. We haven't given you chemo or radiation or surgery, and that must be a lab error. Let's recheck those numbers next week. Guy comes back the next week, his number is 6.5. His doctor says the classic, whatever you're doing, keep doing, which blows my mind, by the way, which is like, I see 12 of you a day. Why don't you tell me what you did because I could share it with all these other 15 people that I see a day, more like 40 people a day they sometimes see. That's a different story. Anyhow, I said, holy crap, I got that same sense of magic and wonderment as like, this is like amazing, cool. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just read a little bit of Donnie Yance's book, at which point I decided I gotta go study with this guy. And I did the full holistic oncology training out in Oregon and have been hanging out with these guys ever since and learning more about the herbs, more about plant medicine, the diet, the lifestyle, the yoga, the activities to calm down the nervous system and help patients with, yes, cancer, other chronic diseases. And the cool thing about working with this patient population is that you get to see the magic, basically because they're motivated to put all those things in place as opposed to the person that just wants to not have a little ankle pain when he plays basketball, which is just enough to, take the herbal ibuprofen or do a little acupuncture instead of really changing their life and life trajectory to where they're not heading towards cancer, not heading towards diabetes, not heading towards cardiovascular disease. And I like working with this motivated patient population, and this stuff works. So I get to see the magic and kind of on a daily basis, and I thank the plants and my teachers for it. So that's how I came to be, I guess. And I really enjoy it every day. So there it is.